Hello, Dumbarton. It's Reverend Rachel. Happy Wednesday. Back with you for another midweek meditation. In this month of September, as we as a congregation are engaging in our commitment to becoming an anti-racist church in worship, and on Sundays, we're talking about what it means to be anti-racist as a community. I'm using this opportunity of these midweek videos to share with you a little bit about anti-racism work on an individual level and how we as individuals, as followers of Jesus, can engage in this practice of anti-racism. I don't know if this is true for you, but when I was growing up, one of the things that I learned was that to be a racist was one of the worst things you could possibly be. It wasn't so much an explicit message, but things that I learned through what my family said, what my church taught, how my friend group acted. We were expected to respect everyone, to treat other people as we would want to be treated. And if we had any racist views, we're not supposed to ever express those. Growing up in a small, mostly white community in Northwest Arkansas, we were clear about who the real racists were. They were the people who had Confederate flag bumper stickers, or who would openly use the N-word or talk about people who weren't white in a way that was extremely disrespectful and rude and offensive. The rest of us were not racist. But what I've learned more recently, in fact, very recently, in the last few years, as I've started to dig more into my own work of anti-racism, is that I am a racist. I hold racist views and prejudices, not always consciously, but many times implicitly. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I want to have to be part of my life. But I live in a racist society. I've internalized a lot of negative messages about people who are not white. And so I have to do the work of anti-racism on myself. In her book, White Fragility, Robin DiAngelo writes, "We have all been taught that it is important not to be prejudiced. Unfortunately, the prevailing view is that to be prejudiced is bad, and that causes us to deny its unavoidable reality. Prejudice is foundational to understanding white fragility, because suggesting that white people are prejudiced is perceived as bad and should feel ashamed. We then feel the need to defend our character rather than explore the inevitable racial prejudices we have absorbed so that we might change them." It reminds me a lot of what Jesus said in Matthew's gospel when he criticized people who could see the sliver in someone else's eye and not notice the log in their own. It's really easy to say certain people, certain groups of people are racist if they align themselves with hate groups or they openly say racist things. It's a lot harder to look at ourselves and our own hearts, our own lives and experiences and say, yeah, I too have been racist. I hold some racist views. I have some work to do to become an anti-racist. I posted a TEDx video on our Facebook page this week. You might want to check it out. The speaker is a comedian and DJ from New York City, a man named Jay Smooth. And it's very funny, but he talks about racism getting caught in our teeth. It's like when we get a little piece of food stuck right here. And sometimes we have to look in the mirror to get it out. It doesn't mean, he says, that we're not a clean person, that we don't brush our teeth or go to the dentist. But every once in a while, we all get a little piece of racism stuck right here. And we need to look at our own reflection, or we need someone else to let us know that, hey, we got a little bit of racism right here. Abrams Kennedy says that racist and anti-racist are not fixed identities. We can be a racist one minute and we can be an anti-racist the next. What we say about race, what we do about race in the moment determines what, not who we are. This is freeing for us because it doesn't mean that we are always one thing or another. We're not bad or good. We're not racist or anti-racist. We are people who grew up in a racist society, who live in a racist society, who are working on becoming anti-racist. Ajama Olu, who wrote So You Want to Talk About Race, says the beauty of anti-racism is that you don't have to pretend to be free of racism to be an anti-racist. Anti-racism is the commitment to fight racism wherever you find it, including in yourself. And it's the only way forward. A few years ago, I was really surprised at myself when I took the Harvard University's online implicit bias test. Again, I thought of myself as somebody who respected everyone of all races and backgrounds as equals, as my neighbor, my sibling in Christ. I thought of myself as someone who was working really hard at not being prejudiced. And then I took this test in which images get flashed on the screen really quickly and you have to click without thinking at your emotional reaction. And it came back and said that I have implicit bias against people with darker skin than mine. And I was really ashamed and upset with myself. I judged myself as not being who I want to be or thought I was. And then I realized that this was an opportunity to look in the mirror and to do better, to work at it, to try explicitly through practice, through reading, through looking at my own attitudes and behaviors to undo those implicit messages that I had received, to become anti-racist. And I don't always do it. Sometimes I fail and fall short of who I want to be. We all do. But the good news is that racist and anti-racist are not fixed identities. We are not broken down on a binary of good people and bad people. We are all people who need to do the work. So this week I want to invite you into some reflection around your own life, your own experiences of racism, your own attitudes and prejudices, where they might be caught in your teeth, stuck in your heart or mind, where you need to do some work. I invite you into this so that we can together choose to continue on the path toward anti-racism. It is a journey, my friends. And God is with us.